Hello students, this is Shweta Roy. This video is for Chapter 5 History Part 1 Architecture in the Medieval Period. In this video we are going to discuss about meaning of architecture, kinds of monuments, importance of monumental architecture in the early medieval period. In that we have North India and South India. Then we will discuss about the architecture in the Sultanate period. So these are some of the important topics which we are going to cover in this video. So here we will start with the topic architecture in the medieval period. So in medieval period, many of the forts, palaces, garden, residences, tombs were built by the kings. So this medieval period was actually very rich in the field of architecture. Now why kings were building that? They were actually building the monuments so that they can celebrate their victories. Also they were building it so that the future generation can remember him. So like this, many of the architecture work has been done in the medieval period. Now what is the meaning of architecture? Architecture actually means the design or style of a building. The design and style of the building is called architecture. So these monuments are seen as the power and prosperity of the ruler. So in this medieval period, many monuments were built. So you can say that architecture is the art of practice of designing and constructing buildings. Now here we have the topic kinds of monuments. So there were two kinds of structures which were built that time by the rulers, individual structures and public structures. Now individual structures include forts, havelis, palaces, garden residences and tombs. And these individual structures were safe, protected and grand buildings. Public structures, these were meant for the public activity like temples, mosques, tanks, wells, karmas, sirais, bazaars, these kind of structures which is actually for the public, which is meant for the public, was there in the public structure. So there were two kind of structures, individual and public. So individual was very grand and they were very safe and protected, and the public structure was meant for the public. Importance of the monumental structures. So you see, as we have already discussed, this medieval period was very rich in the field of architecture, and there were many reasons behind that. So we'll discuss the reasons. What were the reasons behind that? So kings were building forts, palaces, garden residences and tombs beautifully so that they can show their power, position and prosperity. And the public structures were built which was actually for the public activity. They were built so that they can win the hearts of people. Now, a temple or mosque communicated the importance of a king because it was the symbol of power, wealth, and devotion of the king. And it was also places for the worship. So these were constructed beautifully. Also, they built the monument to celebrate their victories in the war. Like you have Buland Darwaja, which is in Fatehpur Sikri. It was built by the Akbar so that to celebrate the victory over Gujarat. Also, they built the monument so that the future generation could remember them. These are some of the reasons they were building the monument. Monumental architecture in the early medieval period. So here we have the North India and South India. So as we already discussed, this period was very rich in the architecture field. The Nagara style or North Indian style of architecture was very popular. There is Lingaraja temple at Bhubaneswar, the Sun temple which is there in Konark, and the Jagannath temple of Puri. These are the example of Nagara style of architecture, North Indian style of architecture. Also, in these temples, when you will visit, you can find Vimana, that is towered shrine, Jagmohana, that is audience hall, Nata Mandapa, that is dance hall, and Bhoga Mandapa, which is offering hall. So these things are there in the temple. Also, you can find this style of temple at Khajuraho in Madhya Pradesh. And these temples are especially known for the carving and sculptures. Khajuraho in the Madhya Pradesh is known for the carving and sculpture. Then you have the Kandaria Mahadeva temple, and it is the finest temple of North Indian style temple. And in this temple was actually constructed in 999 by the king Dhangadeva, who was from Chandela dynasty. So the king Dhangadeva, who was from Chandela dynasty, built the Kandaria Mahadeva temple in 999, which is the finest temple of North Indian style temple. In this temple, there was an ornamented gateway which led to an entrance and a main hall, that is Mahamandapa. Also, the image of chief deity was kept in the main shrine, that is Garbhagriha. And there in the Garbhagriha, only the king and his family and the priest could gather. No other one was allowed. No other person was allowed over there in the Garbhagriha. Then you have the Jain temple of Dilwara, which is in Mount Abu in Rajasthan. It is also famous for its carving and designs. So these are some of the North Indian style temples. Now we will discuss about the South Indian style temples. So in this, Pallavas, the Pandavas, the Cholas, they were actually great patron of the architecture. The Pallavas temple and rock cut rathas are the noble monument of their artistic genius. And they are called rock cut shrines. And why they are called rock cut shrines? Because they were carved out of large rocks or cut into hillsides. And in this, most beautiful is Mahabalipuram. The temple of Mahabalipuram is the most beautiful temple of this style, which is near Chennai. Now these temples have shrine rooms and an entrance hall or a veranda. And later on, courtyards were surrounded by a wall. The gateway was known as Gopuram. Also, a tall spire-like structure was built over the central shrine, which was known as Shikhara. And it was made very high, so that everyone who is visiting the temple could see the location of the central shrine from a distance. So it was built very high. Also, the image of god and goddesses were made either in stone or in bronze. Now, the Chola temples are great example of Dravidian style of temple. In this temple, they consist of square vimana. In a pyramidical shape, like a pyramid. The shape will be like a pyramid, if you see. Then it will have a mandapa, it will have a gopuram and halls, which is beautifully decorated. So these things will be there in the South Indian style temple. Now the most famous temple of this period is Vridahaveshwara temple, which is in Thanjavur in Tamil Nadu. It is the most famous temple of this kind. And also it is known as Raja Rajeshwara temple because it was built by the king Raja Rajeshwara. He built this king built this temple for the god Raja Rajeshwaram, which is actually Lord Shiva. Also, this temple has the tallest shikhara among the temple of this time. Whatever temple were there this time, in that it is having the longest, tallest shikhara. The height of the temple is about 94 meters if you measure it from the ground. The images are, there are bronze images which is very beautiful and they are world famous. And the most famous bronze figure of this temple is Nataraja from Thanjavur. So this was the comparison between the North Indian style temple and South Indian style temple. Then you have architecture in the Sultanate period. Now with this Turk and Afghans, new styles and techniques of architecture came. And this mixed with our traditional Indian style. And a new form of architecture came into existence. And it is known as Indo-Islamic style of architecture. So, the two most important feature of this style was true arc and the dome. True arc is pointed arc that is not supported by any beam, and dome is large area enclosed by a hollow semicircular roof. It is a hollow semicircular roof. And both these forms, if you see, was were based on the advanced mathematical knowledge and engineer skills. And these forms were widely seen in the mosques, palaces, tombs, and later on in private houses also. Now, if you see the Qutub Minar and Quwwatul Islam Mosque, which is at Delhi, they are the earlier example of Indo-Islamic style. We already have read that the construction of Qutub Minar was started by Qutbuddin Aibak around AD 1199, and he constructed the first floor, and after that rest of the four stories were constructed by Shamsuddin Iltutmish. So it was finished by Iltutmish. And this was done in 1229. Now it was later on damaged by earthquake and lightnings, and it was repaired by Alauddin Khalji, Muhammad Tughlaq, Firoz Shah Tughlaq, and Ibrahim Lodi. They all later on repaired this. So it was started by Qutbuddin Aibak, and it was later on built by Iltutmish, and when it was damaged, it was repaired by the other rulers. This Qutub Minar is having the height of 72.5 meters, and it has 378 stairs, and it is built of red sandstone. Also white marbles are used in that. This Qutub Minar is dedicated to Sufi Sant Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki, and it is also a World Heritage Site. The main feature of Qutub Minar is calligraphic inscriptions and decorative carvings. You can see the calligraphic inscriptions on the wall and everywhere, and decorative carvings are there. And these are done by most skilled craftspersons. Also, Alauddin Khalji built an entrance door at the Qutub complex, which is called Alai Darwaja. And the tomb of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, which is a new trend in architecture because it has octagonal shape. If you see the tomb of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, it is having an octagonal shape, and it was a new trend in the architecture field. Also, the tomb of Lodi kings and nobles were built inside gardens and decorated with colorful tiles. So this was the architecture in the Sultanate period. I hope you all understood all the topics taught in this video. Thank you.